Hello, my name is Charlie Brooks, and welcome to IAMPRO's Q&A. I have with me this month Charles Venn, who is currently in Casualty, and he is here to talk to us all about his career and his process and give us all of the juicy dirt. So let's bring him in. Charles, hi.
Hi, how you doing, Charlie? What's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm so
You good?
good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very, very well. Long day
Thank
of
you for
shooting,
being
and
here.
yeah, man, I'm here. Spending some time with you.
Yes, that makes me so
My day.
happy. So we've both had long days filming, and
Yeah.
we're filming this of an evening. You're currently in
Mhm.
Casualty.
Yes, I am.
How long have you been in Casualty for, Charles? Let's get stuck straight into this.
All right. Okay. Let's straight get to the meat.
Let's do.
I've been working currently on Casualty now for the last 7 years.
Oh
7 years.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
And where did it all begin for you? Like how old were you when you decided you want to be an actor, and what was your journey into the industry?
Wow. Okay. In
That
short.
Charles.
it was a really weird one because in truth I didn't necessarily aspire to be an actor in my formative years. I was more interested in sports, but what happened was I was hanging out with some of my friends. One of them in particular was an individual madman by the name of James Samuel, very close friend of mine, and we were shooting a scene, really mock-up scene. He had a video camera. I was around about 18, and we were in Queen's Park, um, and he just said, "You know what, Chucky, like, yeah, you, Faisal, and I think it was a guy by the name of James, another guy by the name of James." He said, "Look, let's just make up the scene. Yeah, pretend you're a debt collector. You got to pick up this money from this guy." He gave a story, a beginning, middle, and end. I said, "Okay, no problem." I didn't really think anything of it. I enjoy messing about and play acting, but once again, never thought about taking it seriously. And we recorded the scene, and at the very end, James approached me. He said, "Chucky, you should speak about acting. You kind of got the natural kind of flow and flair for it." And I went, "Oh, thanks, James. Never really thought about it, but yeah, why not?" And at that particular point, it was in the summer period. So I was kind of in a way, sort of, I was studying sports and leisure and recreation at the time. But when he said that to me, I thought, do you know what? I never really thought about that, but I got a feeling I might enjoy it. But hey, so I decided before I took up another year of leisure and recreation, I thought, as I'm young, let me just take up a course in then acting. So I applied for the performing arts, BTEC performing arts course, and interestingly, a couple of my friends, they decided to join as well. Like I said, we were just kind of in that
Oh
period where,
really?
yeah, it was one of those ones where you're just thinking, hey, why not? We're
Mhm.
young, it's kind of flexible time, it's interchangeable time. So we went for it. And I remember the day we were in this space, Hammersmith West London College. We were in the drama space, and uh, there was a scene that Simon Beer, big shout out to Simon Beer, my drama teacher. He said, "Okay, we're gonna do this scene, which is based in a war, a conflict, and you're a soldier, and one of your comrades, if you will, is close to death. He's been mortally injured, and you're sort of in a way seeing him through before he transitions to the other side." And I said, "Okay, cool." So I done the scene, and I remember I was really locked in, just fully committed to it. And at the end, it's this little tearful moment where I'm just holding him in my arms, and I'm like, and I'm crying and whatnot. And I remember the applause. You could hear it. I just remember it being the tension. You could hear a pin drop. They were really locked into what I was doing, telling this character story. And I just embraced that responsibility of telling it. And I remember at the end, I thought to myself, wow, that was an exhilarating feeling. I really enjoyed that. And I said, I'm surprised I never ever ventured into this before. Where has this been all my life? And ever
Mm.
since then, I never turned my back. I never
So
turned my back.
that was your defining moment, you think?
That was my defining moment. Had it not been for that moment, I may not have ventured into acting. Certainly not at that period.
I mean, it's quite brave as well, isn't it? Because you were into sports. I know you said that, and I read a little bit on, you do the old Google, and it said that you were massively into your sports when you were younger, and it's quite a big jump actually to to go into the arts and to be brave and to commit to something like that, to reading something out loud, whether it's dialogue or, you know, it's amazing. So do you think, are any of your friends that you went with actors and still acting, by the way?
No, they weren't as crazy as me. They ventured in various other things. One of my friends, his name is Sylvester. He owns a bar. If you guys are ever in the Portobello area, Trailer Happiness, one of the best cocktail bars in London.
I love Trailer Happiness.
Ah, there you go. So that's my guy. He was with me, man, and we both studied it. But like I said, yeah, they've steered into different careers. I'm the only one.
Amazing. Okay, so I mean, you started off by basically effectively making your own piece of work, which is what I really try and influenced hugely by one of your friends, but it's what I really try and encourage people on the platform to do, you know, because it's so hard to get stuff on your CV. I'm like, go out, make your own stuff. So much is filmed on iPhones these days, you know, there's so much opportunity at our fingertips. So at 18, okay, you went and you did a BTEC and you did 2 years there, and then you got an agent. Like, what was the next steps for you? Or you didn't go to drama school after that?
No, I didn't go to drama school. It was really interesting because I auditioned. I remember I auditioned for the Poor School Theatre, and it didn't go very well. I was very underprepared, and yeah, it just didn't go well. And I remember it discouraged me to a degree, but I thought, no, I was so determined because I believed in my heart. I know I can contribute to the art form that is acting. I know I could do something. So I actually just stayed with it. I stayed with it. And because I just believed I was just destined to just do something in this, you know, in this business. So what had happened was, I'm gonna keep this as brief as possible. What happened was I ended up basically using the Stage magazine, and I sort of slightly inflated estimation of who I was as an actor, and like embellished my CV a little bit. And I remember I was looking at, you know, and we're talking about the 90s now, you know what I mean? The 90s was a very different time. You know, there was no internet and certainly no digital, you know, phones. So what happened was I saw in the Stage magazine this advert for Dream Team. Now, keep in mind at this point, I was grafting. I was doing everything I could to just try and get my name out there. You know, I was a young man. I went by the name of Chucky Venice. Long story, crazy. But hey, that was the name I was going by. And, you know, I was doing corporate videos, modeling, this and that, because obviously I didn't necessarily have that. I wasn't given that sort of guided, informative process and route into the acting business because I didn't go through drama school.
Yeah.
I was figuring this all out on my own. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying that was my journey. So I by route of using the Stage magazine, which was like my you know, proverbial Bible at the time, just to find acting work and the breakdowns and this, that, and the third, because there was a thing called PCR, the PCR newsletter, and you could find out all the breakdowns for the current production going on. So
something very different these days.
yeah, oh, goodness me, man, very different. So I remember seeing it was in the Stage magazine. I saw an advert for excuse me, PCR. In the PCR magazine newsletter, I saw an advertisement for Dream Team, and I love Dream Team as a show. And I always said I'd love to be on that show, man. That's a dope show. I want to be part of that one day. You know, I manifested it. So when I saw it, I said, like, cool. I'm gonna give my highly inflated CV to them. You know, with my little headshot. So I sent it off to them now, and I got a response back. I said, yeah, you know, I said, Chucky, you know, we'd really love to see you for this role that we have in mind, blah, 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 blah. I said, great, okay. So I ended up going in, I went for the audition, and I always remember at that point as well, Spice Girls were, you know, they were it at that time. And I remember Mel B's sister was in this audition room. Yeah, because what had happened, initially I'd gone up for one, the initial audition, then they asked for a recall. And in that recall was a whole number of actors and actresses, you know what I mean? And one of them being Mel B's sister. I was thinking, man, yeah, this is serious. Wow, she's in it. And I auditioned, you know, I'd done a pretty good read, you know, bouncing off of actors and whatnot. And a week or so later, I got a call from the venerated, respected casting director, Jill Trevillage. And yeah, she said to me, Chucky, they really like you. They're very close to, you know, giving an answer, yay or nay, blah, 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 blah. You know, she even told me how much the pay was going to be, the wage. I was like, oh my God. I remember where I was, Rathbone Street, vividly remember it. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna start hanging around, and wait for this. Man, this is must got me mine. 5 minutes later, she calls me back with a very sullen voice, and she just went, "Chucky, I'm really sorry, but it didn't go your way." I went, "What?" Yeah, they've just kind of, decided to steer into a different direction with the show, and I'm really sorry. I said, no, surely not. That was just, it was good as mine. And I just remember I was so upset, just distraught, and I was ready to just, I was just like, I'm done with this guy. If they can't see my, what I'm about, then that's it. I want no parts of this. But of course, that was just my initial reaction. Because later, I, let it go, and I'm back on the, the grind again, looking for gigs. So what happened was about 6 months later, once again through stage, I find this gig called Draining Lizards. Draining Lizards was an independent movie being made, about these two bumbling wannabe criminals, and they find out they do this robbery in a warehouse and wanna. I audition for it, I get that role. Great. First time I'd ever done the nighttime shoot. It was a really great experience for me, And when I'd finished that production, maybe a month or so later, the producer of the show said to me, he calls me up and says, "Chucky, there's a lady by the name of Jane Hewland. She's the exec producer for Dream Team, and she's gone on the internet." And the internet at that time was very much in its fledgling years. It was very, very early. And she said that they've gone into it and they've been searching for you. Sounds like they really want to see you. Oh, okay, interesting. So I call up and whatnot. Interestingly, Jill Village hits me up again, and she says to me, "Yeah, okay, they really want to see you again."
Still no agent, by the way, Charles.
Still no agent at this particular point. Still no agent. And bearing in mind as well, at this point, I was sending out my CV. I was using the directory, actors directory. I was actually going through that just to send to casting directors, whoever, because as far as the way I saw it is, as long as I keep casting out that net, I might catch some fish. That's how I saw it. Yes. And what then happened was, George Village now says to me, "Listen, Chucky, clearly Jane Hewland really likes you. She wants to see you again for another role." And I ended up going for this role of Linton Alexander. And I remember the day I went in and I was in there sitting next to Robbie G, man, foundation. I just felt honored to even be auditioning in the same room with this guy. Do you know what I mean? And there was another guy called Cornell S. John. And we sat down, we went in, audition. So what happened was, I ended up going back in again because the cast director said to me, the producer said to me, "Chuck, we really like you, but we're thinking that we'd like you to try and read again, but with Robbie G. But Robbie G's going to play, he's going to read for the role of Linton Alexander. You're going to read for the role of Curtis Alexander." I went, okay. But I remember thinking in my mind, okay, Curtis sounds all good, but I want Linton because he sounds like the regular. That's what my mind's thinking. But okay, whatever, we'll do it. So I go in there, do my thing, bam, finish the audition. I left now, and I heard within about 3 or 4 days, Jill hits me back up. She hits me up and she says to me, "Chucky, unfortunately, you didn't get the role of Linton." I was like, "Oh, again?" But they wanted you for Curtis. And I went, okay. In my mind, I'm thinking it's a very small role. It's all about Linton. He's the main man. I'm going to be his brother, whatever. Because I was thinking is that all I wanted was, because for me, I've always said, I don't want favors. I just want opportunities. Because I know what I can do. Just need the opportunity. So when I remember this, it said, okay, they're going to be sending the script within a couple of days. And, and you read it and I, okay, cool. Script comes to me. It's 2 episodes. And I read it. And I see Curtis heavily laden throughout this whole script. He's really involved in these 2 episodes. I went, yeah, that's the opportunity I needed. That's what I need right there. In order for me to just show what I can do, is showcase my abilities and let the world see. This was a show, bearing in mind at that time, Dream Team was generating about 1 million viewers on Sky. So I was like, that's what I needed. So people can get who Chucky is. So I remember I went in there, did my thing, I was just gave 100%, and shortly after that, when I'd finished, and I remember it aired on Sky, it was a big deal. I remember my kids seeing that. I felt so, I was so privileged that this is what I've been pushing for. Yeah. And then shortly after that, I received another call. Oh, sorry. The last thing, very quickly, there was a Christmas party they had invited me to. This is about a couple of months later. They invited me to the Christmas party, Dream Team. I thought, oh, that's a good thing. So I go down there and I meet a man by the name of Michael Cronin, the late Michael Cronin, who was part of the Narrow Road agency. and he's passed away now. May his soul rest in peace. But Michael Cronin, I was introduced to him, and we ended up meeting again later because I said, I don't have any representation at this particular point, and he offered to represent me. So shortly after that, basically, Michael told me that they've Dream Team have offered you a year's contract on the show. They really loved your role as Curtis Alexander, and that was it.
That's amazing.
3 years, and that's how my career really began.
So what I'm hearing is fierce self-belief that Mr. Charles Venn had from quite a young age. Was that a combination? Were you born with that, do you think? Or you mentioned Simon, was it your drama school, your drama coach from college?
Yes.
How much influence did he have on that? Or did you always have this inherent knowing? I mean, Dream Team seems pretty perfect. So it's like your sports. I mean, I don't know if you're a footballer but marrying those two things.
I learned to be a footballer. I was going to be whatever the hell they wanted me to be in order to play a role. I'll tell you that now. But I did like football a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I did, but I wasn't that great. But I learned to be a very good footballer, fairly good footballer on Dream Team. But to answer your question, Simon Bear definitely had an influence on me, no doubt. I always remember the day when I was in class one day, and he said to me, he was talking about a couple of acts. He said, you see, Chucky has the discipline and the drive I'm looking for. This is what I'm saying. If you lot could learn from Chucky, then you lot can actually, maybe do something with it. I remember that. I was feeling embarrassed, but I admire the fact that he saw how hungry I was to really try and.
That's the moment. That's the moment where the fire in the belly and you go, I'm heard, I'm seen. Yes. Someone's noticing me. Exactly. That, it's. Yeah,
exactly 100%. That's exactly what it is. You know what I mean? I think the drive was always there. I think it was inherent. I've been a driven kid, but but obviously to channel it, these are things, obviously the makings of me, my fiber of my being, but obviously now it was channeled into this.
Yeah.
Now I had a goal and I had set myself a task, and I wasn't going to be denied. It was sort of one of those ones. Yeah.
So can we move on to how you approach a script a little bit? And how much that has developed over the years? Is that something you've got more confident with? I went to drama school when I was a kid, and then I did a year at A levels, and then I got into EastEnders. So I know, I spent a lot of I didn't know what I did really. I just kind of read the script and did it. I don't really know what I'm doing. And
similar, very similar.
Okay, so talk to me about that. And is that have you done class since then? Do you take classes still as an actor or not? Because I know you've been in some Hollywood movies as well.
Do
you believe in still doing the work? I mean, I think we're always learning through this platform. I've just loved it. I learned so much from the students that are on here and some of the coaches. But I'm always looking for new classes and for creative ways of learning. Let's go back. Sorry, I digress. Let's go back to your process and how you approach a script now.
Right. So in terms of scripts now, I guess it's commonly known as mapping.
Yeah.
Mapping is a very, very important process for me. I need to navigate and know exactly what's going on in every single scene. And I need to know why my character is saying that particular line. And I need to know overall, what does he want from that scene? Objective is an essential, because that informs how you're going to basically perform and deliver in that particular scene. Do you understand? You have to look at every scene incrementally. Got to. There is the overall objective, of course, of what your character wants throughout the whole entire story. But more importantly, you have to focus on what's going on in the moment, in the immediate moment. Do you understand? So,
especially with ongoing drama as well and serial drama, like the two sort of mediums that we're working on at this point, because there is no end. So you have to think on your feet and you have to think very quickly, don't you?
100%, exactly that. That's a trained muscle. That becomes over time. So like you said, you learn to just have those quick sort of turnovers and learning to process. But no matter what, objective is an essential. When you get that, and that's a process, and it's a methodical process, because no matter what, I feel blind if I just go into a scene now and I haven't done the mapping. I do feel a bit blind. Don't get me wrong. There's times when you can do it and you can just work instinctively and you can just rely on, you sort of know-how, years of experience, and you can, tell that story or deliver a performance in that moment. Yes, you can, but personally, I don't lean on that. No, I don't. Earlier in my career, I did. Once again, like I said, because I didn't come from drama school,
Yeah.
I was figuring all these things out on route. But obviously through teachings and and just being a sponge, and being a student of the game, I
Yeah.
learned things as I went along, and I realized the importance of them and how much they inform what it is that you do.
Mm.
Similar to this is an objective. What's the objective right now? Our objective right now is for me to speak about my experience in the acting business and try and impart some knowledge or wisdom, if you will, to the young fledglings in the game who are trying to, pick up and sponge and soak up game. That's my objective at this particular point. Your objective, obviously, is to glean as much as you can from me to help to spread that message, if you will, and impart wisdom upon your watchers and listeners, right? That's objective. So everything has an objective, no matter how minuscule or how tiny it is. When you ask me, am I still studying? Yes, I am. I am, absolutely. For a time, I'll be honest with you, for a time I slipped off that for a bit. There was a time, you know what I mean? And that's only because we're all human, we're fallible, we're not perfect,
Of course.
you understand what I'm saying to you? And I can confidently say it. I could be forgiven for not doing it at this point because I've been working consistently. I've been very blessed to be working consistently over the last 7 years and largely over my last 20 years, 21 odd years. Do you know what I mean? With a couple of times off here and there. I've been very, very blessed. But there's always something to learn. And the kind of actor I know I can be, I haven't reached him yet.
No, yes, I love that. I love that. We've always got further to go.
100%. And I will be a student of the game until I die. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, even if that is just going to the theatre, watching other performers, whatever that shows up for you,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
yeah, always learning.
How always learning, 100%. I could watch a kid deliver something. I like how he done that. Or I like how she done that. Okay. Yeah, note that. Try and deliver. Sometimes the kids are sometimes the best actors because they it comes from a real place with kids. You know what I mean? They're most innocent. You can watch a child, and I could ask my son, okay, pretend you're a cowboy, yeah, and you're about to basically try and, I don't know, pick up that money from this sheriff, because that child will do it with such commitment.
Yeah.
They're not self-conscious.
And that's it, isn't it? That's half of it. It's the commitment. I mean, I know for sure for me, there were times where I got lazy and I wasn't doing a lot of what I now know relieves my anxiety, and it makes me feel like I'm taking steps towards being the actor that I really want to be, and I'm not doing that, then I feel creatively suppressed, and that's where the anxiety starts to set in, and I'm not reaching my full potential, and so then I feel small and incapable, and I lose it's like a whole spiral. And actually, if I just just do that shit, just read that out loud, go and see that play, do that class, and suddenly it's like you have these creative outlets and you're growing and learning, and
you're speaking my truth. That's exactly, even up until recently, that happened. Absolutely. The anxiety and the fear where you almost feel like you're too scared to even speak. And this is me 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, literally sometimes when you have a lengthy break or whatever, and that could just be down to scheduling or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then, you got a bit of time off. And then all of a sudden you're back on again and you're in front of the camera and you've done all the, you've learned your lines, your lines. And it's all good when you're doing it in front of the camera, in front of the mirror at home. It's fine. But then all of a sudden you've got to do it in front of like a crew. And you have to deliver, and all of a sudden the fear, the anxiety just kicks in. And you have to lend upon every ounce of your experience just to get through that scene. But it's a lot to do with, like you said, just simply not, if you don't keep that, especially when you get those lengthy breaks and you're not keeping those muscles, those active muscles sharp, yeah. If you're not keeping it active and loose and mobile and supple, all of a sudden you're back in the arena again, and it's like, oh wow. Okay.
You know what the hell am I doing? Shit.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't navigate properly again. Do you know what I mean? And it takes a couple of days of getting back in it, and then you find the rhythm again.
And the self-awareness as well.
The self-awareness, yeah, exactly. The self-awareness, as opposed to just being free and just telling the bloody story. And that's where the importance of, like you said, just, whether be, I don't know, like I said, going to theatre or just doing your once or 2 day a week classes, it just it makes all the difference.
Talk to me about the Bourne identity. You have quite
Yeah. So
and something else
Bourne
as well. I just want to
Ultimatum,
know
my
about
God.
the filming process and like, you know, how was that?
Wow. Okay. So it was funny with the Bourne Ultimatum at that particular point. Yeah, I was you know, I was very heavily into my acting classes at that point. And when we were just working on process and acting for Scream and Practice was Perfect, and uh, just two-handers and the Clifford Odettes and Tennessee Williams and all of these things. You know what I mean? Working American accent. I was really, my tools were quite sharp at that point. So when I got the role, I had to fly out. I found it was the day I got the role, I had to fly that same day to Madrid. And I was working with Scott Adkins, who's doing fantastically well right now. Scott Adkins, wonderful action actor. And it was we had a scene where we had to, I played an agent, and Agent Hammond, and myself and Scott, we had this initial scene where we saw this quite broody, menacing, agents going in to basically, kick Jason Bourne's ass. And so we kind of had it, we eased in. Paul Greengrass was on his game, the director of it, and he was watching everything. And he was one of those kind of guys, when he gets his shot, he's happy and he can move on, you know what I mean? But when we got into Pinewood, we had to go to Pinewood to shoot the interior of these Madrid scenes. And, we had I had to, had these lines and American accent and blah, blah, blah. My American accent wasn't as sharp at that point, though, I must say. And in the end, we did a good job. But it was mainly the visuals. I wanted more dialogue, but it was mainly the visuals.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But it was a great learning experience, and just watching Matt Damon's process was amazing. It was amazing watching him and seeing how he works. Jennifer Stiles as well, yeah, man, it was a great experience in that sense, and it kind of kicked things off, because after that, not long after that, is when I had another little small role in The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, R.I.P. And
did you meet Heath?
I met him, yeah, a couple of times. Lovely man, consummate professional. Always when he was on set as the Joker, he was locked in. Didn't speak to anyone. Played in character throughout. When he was in costume,
so he wouldn't speak to you in between takes. He was just like in it the whole time.
If he was speaking to you, he'd speak to you as a Joker. He wouldn't talk to you as Heath Ledger. But when he was out of costume, cool. I was lucky to take a picture with the guy, I was so glad I done it that day as well. And but watching him never dropped a line, the why so serious. I was right there, literally was sat like 3 feet away watching him perform this. And he must have done about 20-25 takes doing that scene, and he never dropped a line. Stay, because he was locked in as the Joker, and at that point, I remember my accent was a lot better as an American accent. I, of course, able to, I was blessed to get a couple of lines in production. So amazing.
Just picking up on something you said earlier, the famous words, "I'm really sorry it didn't go your way." Oh, I hate those words. How do you look after your mental health?
Oh, that's a very good question there, Charlie. I think now the best way to cope or deal with your mental health for situations like this, is communication is very important. Communication is very, very important. Bottling it up and not saying anything, I think, is unhealthy. Your loved ones, your close friends, your confidant, it's important to talk to them, express how you feel. Find a solution, a coping mechanism. For me, prayer. I talk to myself a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I talk to myself a lot, and I'm processing. And I almost have to manifest and speak a sense of confidence within myself. You know what I mean? It's their loss. It's their loss. Understand? I know what I'm capable of. They can't see it, then that's on them. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. I'm coming back. It literally is having to speak it this into existence and somehow convince yourself. But then, of course, that's not for everyone. But rest assured, I think the best way to deal with that in this ruthless industry, take up a class. Take up a class.
Taking action.
Taking action. That's constructive. That's productive. Instead of you sitting and you're really mulling in your feelings about, go and do a class.
Well, we have so much neggy talk, don't we? The negative talk in our heads can be rife.
100%. Ruthless.
Ruthless. I'm like, shut up, you bitch.
Yeah, come on. What's wrong with you, man? I'm there sometimes wanting to do a scene, and you know, I get this voice saying, "You're gonna mess up the line. You're gonna mess up that line." All of these things, you can quiet those.
You can just practice.
That's by practice. Exactly that. You know what I mean? When we get that adrenaline surge and your heart starts beating, and you're having to somehow just disguise that you're not scared shitless about you know, delivering this performance in front of this camera, you know, with all of this crew behind you, or the cast maybe watching in the wings, watching what you're doing, you know, just locking and zoning in on that. That comes with practice. That's obviously not for everyone. There's some people who can just simply get on with it and keep doing it, no problem. I'm talking for those who do get nerves, who do get scared, who need something, like I said before, to lean on, a sense of reassurance. And I think reassurance comes with acting training and just doing classes, dropping classes. They help.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree. So you can currently be seen in Casualty. Like you said, you've been there for 7 years. You're still enjoying your time there?
Very, very well. I'm very much so enjoying my time there. It's a wonderful cast and crew, I have to say, man. Amazing team. And I've been very blessed to have played Jacob Masters. You know, he's had such a roller coaster, you know, time on the show. You know, peaks and troughs. You know, love interests. You know, loss. You know, we just recently finished a storyline, a domestic abuse storyline, where Jacob himself was the recipient of the abuse, highlighting, you know, males being, you know, abused by their, you know, female partners. So much so that we just received a nomination for best storyline at the RTS Awards for Television Society. So, you know, yeah, it's been great, man. Even now, 7 years later, I'm still, you know, I'm still being recognized, if you will, for the work I'm putting on it. So I'm very blessed, very happy.
It's amazing. I think being in something and being with a character for that long, you know, it's quite interesting to see how they evolve and how they grow. You know, and quite rare as an actor that we're able to do that.
Very,
you know, really go on that full journey with like continuous.
Very, very blessed.
Okay. Oh my God, we're on 33 minutes. Charles, it's flying by. Okay, so I've got just 2 more questions. So one is, what advice have you got for anybody wanting to break into the industry?
My advice for anyone wanting to break into this industry is preparation. This is the long game. Don't cut corners. I feel right now, and I don't want to generalize the young demographic right now, the young generation, but I feel there is an element of impatience. This is what I'm encountering with a lot of young, you know, performers, artists. It's about wanting it now. And, you know, I think obviously because it's a digitized society right now and social media and things of that nature, I can understand it. And truth be told, maybe if this was around during our time, you know, as young as, I may have even maybe been tempted to fall into that trap. But, you know, it's a platform to use, you know, in a way to help, you know, boost one's profile or create awareness about who you are. But that's only a small part. It's a small part, because no matter what, you could have so many followers, but if your skill and your craft is not sharp and you're not constantly developing and constantly maintaining it like a muscle or going to the gym, it can become short-lived. You know what I mean? This is the long game. The fame is temporary. It's about longevity. That's where you focus on your career, because we go through changes. I'm not the young, bustling, muscular man I used to be when I was young. I'm not that guy anymore. I'm an older dude.
I don't know, Chops. You're not far off, babe. You're doing
Girl, I got gray hairs. I'm getting older, man. But but the whole thing is, for me, I learned quite early. I say quite early, when I started footballers wise. That's when I learned. And I was probably at that point. I was probably maybe 8 years, 9 years in the game at that point, and I learned about show business, and I realized that's not what I want. It's not that I don't. I'll embrace it and I'll take it. Don't get me wrong, but I learned from then. It was about longevity.
Yeah.
Focus on your career, focus on the craft. And that's what will potentially keep you in this business for a long, long, long time. And so the whole thing is, ultimately, just focus on your craft. I remember Dr. Dre saying something once. He said, when they asked him, man, so what about the money, man? When did the money come? Because he said, I didn't worry about the money. I focused on my craft. When I focus on the craft and I put my music out there, the money will come. Let me just focus on the craft.
100%.
100%. That's all it is. It's a long game. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
We live in a world of instant gratification in so many levels. It's interesting. I recently went around to some schools, and one of the questions they all asked me was, how much money do you earn? How long does it take for you to earn it? What's it like being famous? Which, of course, is interesting. But it's like you're right. You've got think ahead.
Think ahead. You got to go back to the old school, man. You know what I mean? Just remembering. What these guys are doing. Listen, okay, I've had a reasonable amount of success. I've been very blessed, and I'm still doing my thing. But man, if Robert De Niro's and the Al Pacinos and the Michelle Pfeiffers and the Meryl Streeps and the Denzel Washington and the Wesley Snipes, these guys are still going to class regularly. Like therapy. They're doing this regularly. Yeah. Who in the world are we to feel that we don't need to attend those classes on a weekly basis?
It really helps me to keep discovering who I am as a person as well, and find language that I can then take and use with different characters and ingredients that you can add in of who you are. And it's taken me a while actually to kind of get to know myself, I suppose, on an intimate level. And you do that through doing the work, not only on yourself personally, but the working class.
100%. It's a fact. There's no doubt about it, because we are evolving. The general nucleus of who we are is always going to be there at the end of the day. That's the makings of who we are. But at the same time, we are evolving. We are maturing. Every day we're learning something. And over time, as I said, what we're learning starts to inform many ways how we behave. Yeah, that's in life who we are. But at the same time, you start learning just through classes, through different challenges, different assignments being put in front of you by your acting coaches and teachers. Oh yeah, I didn't even know I had that in my locker.
No, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
So true. So my TV's just really annoyingly come on. Let me just switch it off.
No worries, darling.
Fire. That's my secret ghost.
That was kind of crazy. Yeah, I was thinking,
I was just like, no, Charles is talking. No, I'm so sorry.
No worries, darling.
Yeah, I hear you.
Man. It's that. Do you know what I mean? It's through classes, the assignments that your teacher, your acting teachers, obviously, put in front of you, and you tackling that new objective or that new assignment. Once again, you learn things about yourself. You learn things about, okay, so I'm at that point. Oh, so I can play that kind of role right now. Do you know what I mean? There are certain roles that require a level of maturity in order for one to play. You know what I mean? There are roles I can play now I couldn't play 10 years ago. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because I wasn't emotionally mature enough to play that. Do you understand? Appearance, there's all the number of things, you know what I mean? But that's, as I said, just evolution, time, enables that. So you got to move with it, and we adapt, these behavioral patterns or these newfound experiences and apply them to the whatever it is that we're working on. So yeah, absolutely, it's all part of it. It's always a learning game.
We're lucky though, because I just I love what I do. I don't ever feel like I'm going to work when I'm working, you
Oh,
know.
oh, there's not a day that goes by. Maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but 80% of the time, I would kiss the heavens and say, you know what, thank
Yeah.
you. I'm blessed. This is something I've wanted to do, like I said, since the age of 18, 19.
Mm.
And, you know, I'm truly, 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 truly blessed that I've been doing this for over 20 years now. Very,
Yeah.
very, very, very lucky. Very
Yeah,
lucky.
baby. It's interesting as well what you were just saying. We did a mentoring session on Sunday last week, which was, oh my God, my TV.
Yeah.
Which was about knowing your casting bracket, actually, and being truthful about, you know, age and who we are and knowing where we sit. And like you said, with wisdom, you're able to, like, I could play a hard-hitting mother now like I just couldn't have done 10 years ago. And, you know, because I've got so many of my own experiences.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. We have to be sponges, and we as actors, I've always said that we as actors have to be, we are opportunists. We capitalize of whatever it is that's going to help or enable us to deliver a performance. You understand what I'm saying? You know, with method, it's that process. You take experiences, you watch people, you see how they behave. And like I said, once again, watching a child, watching a teenager, you know, watching, you know, a young lady deliver something, and I'm looking at that movement. Oh, I love how she just turned away from the camera, or that little tilt to the head, eyes, or that emotional depth she's just given to that. All of these little things, you just, you know, you're taking the, you know, those moments that work for you, and you just try, you do your best to add them to your itinerary of emotional range, or
yeah.
you know, you know what I mean, you know, it's just all about basically whatever works, you add on board your long list or your repertoire. That's just what it is. We have to be opportunists. You got to, and if you're not, man, I think for the most part that can narrow you as an actor, or
Yes.
as
Yeah.
you can. You have to just capitalize, you know what I mean, off everything you're seeing. And if it works in the moment, use it. Do you
Keep
understand?
adding it to the list. Keep adding it to
100%,
the
man.
list.
But what? There's times when you might need to cry in a scene and da 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 da. All right, then, match. I have to go back, think about that moment, or I see
Yeah.
something that might just move, whatever it takes in order for you to be able to deliver as organic, as visceral a performance in that moment as possible. You understand? So yes, yes, it's like I said, it's a constant evolutionary game. You know, we
For sure.
ourselves are evolutionary. We have to keep moving with times and keep moving whatever it is that we have, and just delivering. And like you said before, you know, our casting range either expands or it narrows, whatever it is, but it's just knowing thyself, and still being open and welcome to, you know, taking in whatever new energies, new things come into your existence. You have to be a sponge, man. You got to be a sponge. You got to be malleable. You have to be flexible to just take in whatever comes. That's just part of
Love
the game. You know what I'm saying? Constant change. Oh, like Bruce Lee once said, and I love this expression. Such a simple expression, but so powerful. You have to be water. You got to be water, because water
love that.
takes the shape of anything. It takes
Yeah.
the shape of anything. You have to be adaptable. You got to adapt. You got to adjust, and you can apply adaptability to anything, any sport. You know what I mean? Any job. Got to be adaptable, because if you're not adaptable sometimes and you can't make those adjustments, they could sometimes look elsewhere.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But if you're adjustable and you're adaptable and you're open to ideas and suggestions and think, okay, you know what? Yeah, I can make that work. I mean, case in point, the domestic abuse storyline. That was difficult. I've never done anything like that before. Very, very, very hard.
How have you hard? How, yeah, how has the experience been?
Oh my Lord, Charlie, my God, my God. At first, I thought when my series producer, you know, they told me about this maybe about a year and a half before, no, 2 years before the storyline, you know, came to be, because you know, COVID came and it changed, you know, it just slowed everything down. And Adele James, you know, wonderful actress Adele James, who played Tina. I remember they saying to me, you know, this is what the story. And I went, okay, wow. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I mean, thinking about the kind of character Jacob is, I don't know if he could become, you know, be cuckolded like that. I'm not sure. I feel he'd be too aware and too open about it. but they said, you know what, the way we're planning on doing it's going to be a methodical process. We're planning on taking about a year or so before you see the slow transition and him being roped into this toxic relationship. I said, okay, well, you have to make sure whoever it is that's playing it has to be very clever, has to be able to deliver that, and then you have to see those cogs whirring in their head, and that's something that's shared with the audience, but everybody in the world of casualty doesn't see it. And they said, yeah, definitely, we're gonna methodically go through that process. And I said, okay, all right, well, listen, I'm open to it. At the end of the day, that's what acting's all about, isn't it? Right? Malleability, got to be water, right? So I said, all right, cool. So we went through the process, and I remember auditioning. We had screen tested a few people, and Adele was the one. She was just brilliant, and the chemistry was just, it was there.
Mm.
And I remember we had gone, we started embarking on the journey and doing our thing, and it was all very, very tactile, and it was romantic, and the chemistry was great. Woo. And then all of a sudden, the switch flicked, and it began. And I remember when we called it the sliding doors episode, where we had these different scenarios and different outcomes to a scene. It was a positive or negative, something to that effect. And I remember Adele in the moment, she thought of this a gesture, a move whereby she flicks my arm like that, it does something, this kind of sort of flick on my, and I remember thinking, oh, that's gonna piss me the hell off if you do that. And she I'm gonna do it. I said, you know what? Do what you need to do. And I remember she'd done it. And obviously I had to stay within the confines of my character. It's not Charles dealing with, this is Jacob. And this was the negative outcome of this scenario. And she done, and I remember looking at her, the disdainful look, which was so real, because I just hated it. And I remember when we sat down after the take, and I was thinking, this is going to be hard. It's harder than I thought it was going to be, because I felt this sudden feeling of victimization and just being exposed to this level of mental abuse. And I thought, wow, this is difficult, but it's a challenge. And, and both myself and Adele, we went through emotional turmoil. And one time she did a scene where she had to physically attack me, and she was hitting me, and I'm blocking the shots and whatnot. But she had to let go, because it really quite deeply involved now with this abusive relationship. And I remember when they said cut, she started crying. She really got upset, and I had to hug her. I said, "No, listen, it's okay, it's fine. Don't worry. Listen," I said, "if you ever hurt me, I will let you know. But we have a responsibility to tell this story, so we can't go hard on it." You understand what I'm saying? So we both went through it. But I remember when we finished and the storyline was over, it took me about a month and a half before I was fully over that. I didn't realize how traumatic it was going to, it would stay with me.
Yeah.
So
you're in something, it is, it's powerful.
Very, very much so. Very much so. Do you understand? But if not for the malleability, once again, being water, very difficult for me to have played that. I would have struggled. You understand? So yeah, man, I think that was a very long example of what I meant, but
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and thank you, Charles, so much for being here for our Q&A for IAMPRO. It's been absolutely amazing to have you.
Man, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, bless you. We're going to say goodbye, because me and you have got long filming days tomorrow.
That we do.
The challenges continue.
That they do.
And long may they continue.
Hey, we love it. We love what we do.
Yeah. Charles, thank you. Thank you so much. Take it easy. Have a nice night.
Yeah,